Hello everyone, and welcome back to another video. Today we are taking a walk through Cafaro's most dead mall they own. This is the Mall of Monroe in Monroe, Michigan. Now this footage was recorded about 2 years ago, but from what I've been able to gather with research, this mall really hasn't changed much since the taping of this footage. 2 anchors that were empty in this video have since been filled in, but other than that, the interior is still just about as empty as it was in this video as it is today. So let's take a walk through this mall and see what it holds in store for us. To begin with the history, the Mall of Monroe would begin life in 1988. Developed by the Cafaro company, the mall would originally be known as the Frenchtown Square Mall, as the mall resides just outside of Monroe city limits in Frenchtown Charter Township. When the mall first opened, it would feature Sears, JCPenney, Hills, Farmore, and Elder Beerman as its original anchors. The Farmore in this mall would be known as the first location in the state of Michigan. Hills and Farmore would be short-lived, however, as the Hills would close in 1993 and would be quickly replaced by a Target, and the Farmore would close in 1995, and their space would be quickly replaced with an Elder Beerman home store and an Office Max. In 2003, a notable event would happen as the mall's owners would sue one of their tenants, Lemstone Books, which had closed their store 6 months before the end of their lease and did not pay rent for those 6 months. Lemstone tried to claim that they closed their store due to another mall store stealing business from them. However, the court would rule in the mall's favor. Even though mall occupancy would stay rather healthy around this time, anchors would still shuffle around, as Office Max would end up closing in the early 2000s, and JCPenney would close their Monroe location in 2004. Breaking away from the history for a second with a fun fact, the arcade to the right is actually owned and operated by YouTube channel Claw Kicker, who has almost 2 million subscribers. And as far as I'm aware, this location is still open, but he also operates a few other locations at other Michigan malls, so I just figured I'd mention that. It's one of the cool things about this mall. The JCPenney space would get filled in 2006 with a Steve & Barry's. However, Steve & Barry's would end up going bankrupt and would close their location at the mall in 2008. And in 2007, long-standing tenant Regal Cinema would also close their location at the mall. However, this space wouldn't sit vacant for long, as Phoenix Theaters would replace the old Regal Cinema, and more big changes were coming up around the horizon. In 2009, Cafaro would spend about $2 million to renovate the mall. They would rename the property to the Mall of Monroe, they would completely remodel the interior, giving us the look you see today, and they would replace the former Old Navy space with a store called Wear District. However, this would not stop tenants from leaving the mall, and in 2011, Sears would announce the closure of their Monroe store and would close the store that year. 2013 would see an expo center replace the former JCPenney space. However, this would be short-lived as it would close a year later. And in 2014, Planet Fitness would open up in the former Office Max space. And around this time, Wear District would also close their store in the Mall of Monroe. In 2014, the former JCPenney space would get filled in once again by Pat Gatan's. However, 2015 would see the mall's biggest problem, as Target would announce the closure of their location at Mall of Monroe in late 2014, and the store would close in early 2015. This would cause a huge vacancy rot to start forming around the mall. Later that year, however, Family and Friends Funland would move into the former Old Navy space. In 2016, the majority of the food court would be removed, as Phoenix Theaters would expand operations at Mall of Monroe and add 4 more screens, replacing the majority of the food court. However, movie theater expansion was not going to save Mall of Monroe. In 2018, Carson's parent company Bon-Ton would file for Chapter 7 bankruptcy and close all of their stores, including their Mall of Monroe Carson's location, and the store would close in August 2018. The Carson's home store wouldn't sit vacant for long, as Monroe City Church would move into the space. However, the main Carson's building still sits empty to this day, and in late 2019, Pat Gatan's would close. This would leave Mall of Monroe virtually anchorless, and it didn't seem like there was much hope, as more tenants would continue to leave and occupancy would drop. During my visit in May of 2022, occupancy sat just shy of 30%. However, in 2023, it started to appear that Mall of Monroe would see a small resurgence happen, as many of the empty inline spaces would start getting filled in with smaller local businesses. The former JCPenney space would get filled in again, this time by Ragnarok Motor Works. The former Target space would become an auto parts facility, and the long vacant Sears space would finally get filled in with a new tenant, a storage facility. I know, how creative. However, while inline occupancy still isn't perfect, it does seem that Mall of Monroe is here to stay for a while longer as a community mall and a small business hotspot for the Monroe region. Now, I'm going to openly admit that I don't like the way this mall looks. I think the interior is very bland, and quite honestly, this is the case with a lot of malls that Cafaro still owns. Their malls look very bland, uninspiring, and just architecturally, they aren't that interesting. They're very sterile looking. It's very much off-whites with kind of nasty carpet, and I really don't like carpet in malls. That's one of the things I don't like. I just don't think it works. But I also think that Cafaro, for the most part, does really well with managing their malls. Although this is kind of their weakest property, they are finding ways to keep it around as long as they can, and I gotta credit them for it. So I hope the Mall of Monroe management and Cafaro the best of luck with this property. And with that being said, everyone, even though this footage is a couple years old, I would still like to thank you all for watching my video tour of the Mall of Monroe in Monroe, Michigan. If you guys did enjoy this video, please be sure to leave a like, as it greatly helps support the channel. And whilst you're at it, be sure to click that subscribe button and turn on notifications so more videos like this can come to more viewers like you. I have a lot more malls in my backlog, with many more properties that y'all are not going to want to miss. So be sure to subscribe to stick around for more videos. I also have an Instagram linked in the description with sneak peeks of future videos, and that's the best way to keep up with what's going on with the channel, so I recommend you follow me on there as well. With that being said, everyone, thank you for watching. Take care, stay awesome, enjoy the ending drone montage, and I will see you all in my next video. Take care, everyone.